2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps is in 5th place as voted by my channel viewers as their most loved or hated sitcom. So it's no surprise that it also featured at number 3 in my video of sitcoms hated by critics. So let's find out why it was so loved and what some people hated about the show. Set in Runcorn, Cheshire, 2 Points follows a group of 20-somethings as they drank, date and search for work. When it debuted in 2001, most mainstream sitcoms focused on middle-class families, so the show stood out for its portrayal of young adults in a gritty, run-down setting. Runcorn is the hometown of the series creator and writer Susan Nixon. It often featured real Runcorn locations and references. There seems to have been a generally positive reaction to the show from people in the Runcorn area. The show gained a cult following and is considered a significant piece of British pop culture history for the area, with a house used in filming being listed for sale with that as a selling point. The show was essentially the ongoing saga of the characters' evolving lives, with major arcs often dictated by the on-again, off-again relationships and various misfortunes that befell them. One of the main plots of the show was Janet and Johnny's relationship, from their initial dating to their engagement, marriage and eventually Johnny's tragic death. Another core coupling was Donna and Gaz's relationship, characterised by their fiery passion, frequent arguments and dramatic breakups and makeup. Louise's storyline often focused on her self-centeredness, her pursuit of various unsuitable boyfriends and her struggles with her own identity and insecurities. Gaz's character was initially defined by sex, beer and football. His arc involved his often half-hearted attempts to become more responsible. The pub, the Archer, was their main meeting point and a constant source of plot lines. So there was plenty going on, and some character arcs did exhibit personal growth and development. The show was known for its explicit language, sexual references and toilet humour. For some, this was part of its charm and relatable depiction of young adult life. For others, it was seen as crass, immature and lacking in sophistication. Reviewers often describe it as Marmite. You either love it or hate it. Many viewers found the characters and their struggles, unemployment, relationships, messy lives highly relatable, particularly those in their late teens and 20s from working class backgrounds. However, critics and some viewers felt the characters were often caricatures or stereotypical, leading to a lack of depth and nuance. This is a common issue where an audience likes some stability and repetition, but also expects some character development. While some praised the show for its enduring humour, others felt the storylines became repetitive or lost their way in later series, especially after the key cast members departed. Reviewers often point out that despite its massive cult following, the show felt incredibly low budget. Mark Oakley, writing for Den of Geek, was particularly critical of the crappy production values and the show looking too much like a TV set rather than a real-life environment. While the exterior shots were filmed on location in Runcorn, all of the interior pub and house scenes were filmed in front of a live audience at the BBC Television Centre in London. What does he expect? That's how sitcoms were made. Despite appearing not to know how TV sitcoms were made, Mark Oakley did accept that crude humour and celebrating the youth generation is a good thing. However, he asserted that the lack of laughs was criminal. While some defended 2 Pints as a uniquely British comedy, others criticised it as a poor attempt to emulate American sitcoms like Friends, arguing it lacked the budget, clever writing and superstar ensembles of its US counterparts. However, while they're right about the lack of a Friends-level budget, Friends relied on rapid-fire, witty one-liners in a bright set. 2 Pints had much more surreal, absurd and raunchy humour in a grungier setting. It had ongoing soap opera-style narrative arcs, whereas early seasons of Friends were mostly self-contained, episodic stories. It seems much of the stronger criticism came from media critics, who often dismissed it as crude and unsophisticated. The show's target audience was definitely 18 to 30-year-olds, particularly working class communities, and it resonated strongly with them. Those who got it often found it hilarious and relatable, viewing it as a realistic portrayal of their lives. People outside this demographic, especially those looking for more traditional or subtle humour, were more likely to find it immature and vile. After season 6, Ralph Little left the show. The official line is that he decided to leave due to being too busy with other television and stage projects. However, in an interview with Digital Spy, Little stated, "I was effectively kicked off the show. It wasn't my choice." This left a significant void in the cast, but rather than have him go away on a trip of some sort, making it possible for him to return, it was revealed in season 7 that he was killed in a bizarre shark fishing accident while in a trip to Hawaii. Viewers were genuinely upset and largely frustrated. Killing off a beloved central character off-screen felt cheap to a loyal audience who were invested in Johnny and Janet's relationship. Critics who had always treated the show as a vulgar, guilty pleasure considered that Ralph Little leaving deprived the show of its strongest comedic engine. Then, before what turned out to be the final season, both Sheridan Smith and Catherine Drysdale decided to leave to pursue other acting opportunities. This time they were not killed off. Janet had run away to Milton Keynes with a new boyfriend, while the eccentric Louise went travelling. As this followed the season 8 finale cliffhanger, where there was a public text vote on whether Gaz should choose Donna or Janet, Donna won with 76.9% of the vote. The resolution felt lacklustre as Janet simply vanished to Milton Keynes. After years of romance and drama, it felt like an anticlimax. The public felt the heart of the show had officially stopped beating. There was a desperate attempt to introduce new characters to keep the momentum going, but it was too late. Tim Claypole, the barman, had been introduced in season 7, and his part increased with the departures. Billy McCormack was brought in as the new fit lad mechanic to replace the lad culture void. Donna's younger, highly cynical and sharp-tongued sister Cassie arrived to support the female dynamic. No one was drafted in to compensate for Louise's brand of detached psychopathic delusion. The reaction to season 9 was, perhaps predictably, overwhelmingly negative. The chemistry that Mellor, Casey, Smith, Little and Drysdale had built over nearly a decade couldn't be manufactured overnight with new actors. The public simply couldn't accept the new characters as part of the family. Billy and Cassie felt less like organic characters and more like archetypes dropped in to fill specific slots on a spreadsheet. The show was already a frequent target for being the worst programme on television by highbrow reviewers. Season 9 gave detractors all the ammunition they needed. Reviews pointed out that without Sheridan Smith's genuine warmth and acting pedigree to balance the crude gags, the show felt hollow, forced and tired. New writers had been brought in alongside the new cast, and the consensus was that the original spark was entirely gone. Shortly after season 9 finished recording in May 2011, BBC Three channel controller Zy Bennett and comedy commissioning editor Cheryl Taylor officially cancelled the show, implying that its older cast and established style no longer fitted BBC Three's emerging identity. Honestly, 9 seasons is not a bad run. It's just disappointing that the series had to end in such a mess. So, did you think Johnny's shark fishing accident was the moment the show jumped the shark? Let me know in the comments and join me for the next Love It or Hate It video.